Pat Kelsey has done it again. Seth Trimble, former UNC guard, as of 5:30 this morning. Does Pat even sleep? As of 5:30 this morning, Seth Trimble is a Louisville Cardinal. Now, how did this happen? How can it happen? And what does this look like for Louisville and for Seth moving forward? So, like I said, at 5:30 this morning, Pete Thamel put out a tweet announcing that UNC guard Seth Trimble is committed to Louisville. He entered the portal in the spring, which is very smart of him, by the way. They anticipated 5-for-5 happening, and even though he was out of eligibility at the time, he entered in the portal. Very smart by him and his camp or his agent, whoever came up with that. And then the Colorado District Court ruling on the 22 class opened the door for his eligibility next season. Again, Seth averaged 14, 4 rebounds and 3 assists in North Carolina last year. He almost had 1,000 career points. He played in 126 games. I mean, he's a guy that calls North Carolina home. North Carolina fans are very upset about this because they thought he was a 4-year guy and one of their people. But Seth put out a post last night, thanking North Carolina fans and just saying, "Hey, you guys don't have any spots for me, but I want to play college basketball again this season. I'm in the portal. I'm going to go to another school." He kind of put that as a precursor, just saying I'm going to end up at another school. And that's when the rumblings really started picking up that he was going to end up at Louisville. Louisville fans, if you kind of are blanking on who Seth Trimble is, he's a guy who put up 34 and 4 on us last year in that North Carolina home game, or that game against North Carolina. They were at home. It started off pretty ugly. It was pretty rough down the stretch. Could have won. Some dumb things happened, but he went off on us. Michael couldn't guard him. Conwell couldn't guard him. He had a fantastic game last season. So what does this look like now for Louisville and Trimble? So once again, shout out to the GOAT, Max Barr. I've used this graphic like 6 times. I'm using it again, and he's already updated it with Seth Trimble on there. Dude works fast, I guess, so appreciate you, Max Barr. Anyway, a lot of people are saying, how does Seth fit the team? Or maybe he doesn't fit the team in their opinion. Where does he fit on the team? Is he a starter? Is he a bench player? Well, I think Max has it right here. I think he's a starting 2 or starting guard. A lot of people, especially the ones in blue, really think this team doesn't fit together. Nobody can shoot, and they love it even more. They're spouting it even more that they can't because Seth Trimble is not a great shooter. But I'll tell you why I think it's a great fit, especially the fit of him and Shellstad next to each other. So Trimble is a very capable ball handler. He's a very capable slasher and driver. He cuts very well. He scores very well in the paint. He can score with both hands, driving to the rim. There's a few plays that I watched where he even beat Flory Badunga to the baseline and got a lay-in off of him, coming off a screen. So how does this help Shellstad? Well, Shellstad, as a sophomore at Oregon, had like a 20% usage rate and had really good efficiency that year because he didn't have to do everything. Last season, as a junior, he had like a 26.5% usage rate where he was doing everything, and his efficiency suffered for it, especially considering he was coming off a broken hand. But still, he was already being asked to do too much on a team that wasn't that good. And then coming into this season for Louisville, one of my biggest concerns was that he was still going to be maybe doing too much, being the primary ball handler, being the primary option on the perimeter to score when you need a bucket, setting up the team, dishing out assists, having to do too much. You prefer maybe your lead ball handler to be more of a passer, or your lead guard to be more of a scorer, but not have to do everything. That's where Trimble comes in. Trimble can take the ball out of Shellstad's hands and alleviate some of that pressure. And some people may not like that because they think Shellstad has to have the ball in his hands, and I disagree with that. He's a very good off-ball mover. He repositions well around the perimeter. And guys like Trimble and Knox get into the paint. They live in the paint. They're great at getting paint touches. Paint touches pull defenders in. If you have Bulgaris in a corner, you have Badunga in the dunker spot, and then you have Shellstad out on the wing, and you get Trimble driving into the paint and pulling defenders in, all right, I'd throw it behind my back down to the dunker spot and get a dunk, or I'd throw it out on the perimeter and Shellstad gets an open 3, or I hit the corner and Bulgaris hits the 3, and that's not even considering where Knox could be in this. Paint touches is very important, whether you like to shoot threes or whether you don't. Getting to the paint helps offense no matter what your style is, and that's something that Trimble's very good at. And a lot of people may not like the idea of Woolley coming off the bench, but I think, that's what the staff always wanted. They went after Juke Harris. They went after The point guard going to Duke, the guard going to Duke and Blackwell, and the point guard going to St. John's. Let's call him Beans because I can't remember his name. They have Beans of Toast over there. If you know, you know. They always wanted Woolley off the bench, and they wanted another guard to play next to Shellstead. Now they have that in Seth Trimble. I think this bolsters the starting unit. I think this makes the bench better. I think this helps with lineup versatility. You know, Trimble can play the 1, he can play the 2. Now Woolley, you know, on the bench, now he might be your best scorer on the team or your best three-point shooter on the team. And now you have options of where he fits into that. Overall, I just think this is a great addition for Louisville. Those are just my initial thoughts. I do plan to do a breakdown of my style of breakdown for him later. This is just my initial rambling thoughts on him. But I love this. I think this takes Louisville from being, you know, a fringe top 8 to 12 team to being right there in the conversation with the best teams in the country. Like always, this is made in partnership with the 1912 Society. I appreciate you guys if you like, comment, subscribe, whether you're on TikTok or YouTube. I really enjoy making these, and I hope you guys enjoy it too.